Jim.
Hey?
I'll get you a cup.
Oh,
I know you don't like plastic cups.
having a picture of it, yeah?
Yep, at the front there. So,
Okay.
grab a seat. I'll get
Who,
you a cup.
I worked as
Get you a real cup for tea.
Do you ever get Thanks. My wife is Steve. Hey. Morning.
Hi.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're all ready.
Thank you. Most of yeah. The last 28 years I worked for a long time. How many years? you might not know the answer to it. We're using, where do we vote? Because we're registered in Concord. Okay, we're moving here today. Or yesterday. You have to do that.
Young man.
Oh, okay, so we'd still be coffee voters, or are we in limbo?
Oh yeah, I love being
We'd still
busy.
be a registered coffee. Okay.
Makes the day go by, but also makes your
That's
life.
actually probably good, coming in as a new president.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
You're another year older.
That's true. I just did that too. Another circle around the sun.
Just time just flies, right? Which is, I guess that's our life on earth.
Yeah. I'm so lucky. I have a quiet wife in one of my classes, and it's all about governance and government, and we have such great discussions. He's such an amazing young man.
Yeah. I hope he's here today.
We'll do that. Perfect. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I'm better.
That's right.
How are you?
I was just gonna turn the video on.
You feel like my students.
Honestly, I woke up before my alarm, so I just left the house. Yeah.
Morning, morning.
Can I sit in here?
Oh no, it's all open. Go ahead. Good there.
Well, and I seen you already about a bunch of different clothing for beautiful. We just like rain. Every day. Yeah. More rainfall.
That's much better.
I'm George.
Just so everyone knows, there's breakfast in the hallway, so come help yourselves. There's Bannon, Forrest, Clarence, Muffin.
Okay, so Darcy's not the MC. That's my favorite spot.
That's how we met. So
Good morning. How are you? I've never met you before.
My name is Commander Siegfried. I am the
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good. Got here, door was locked. Hey, somebody knows.
Oh, extra.
Oh, yeah. I'm up 10 too. No. It's good. Now it's coffee time.
For sure. I'm Donna, I'm the vice president here.
Sometimes it's men, sometimes it's women. But it's like, one of you is Orion. But or Jessica or something.
I actually
Yeah, okay, so you're into the community.
I'm one sleep.
Morning. Good morning, how are you ladies?
It's actually
Way warmer. Yeah, it's warmer than it was yesterday. Yesterday was really warm.
Morning, Bev. How are you? I should have brought my jersey.
Morning.
Yes,
Jersey looks super. I was a little early this morning.
So we arrived yesterday.
Okay.
Pulling our U-Haul, our truck.
Yeah.
We got it unloaded. Yeah, we're in the Portage.
Gonna go nuts now?
So
Special pyrotechnics
because today is a non-structural day, the length of
on the
time
roof.
neighbors were partying.
Oh,
It's
okay.
related to that.
Oh, I see. Yes, yeah.
If every Monday night they're up that late,
It was okay. It wasn't great. I got like the one good shot on the roll off.
they were up quite late last night.
They seemed to lay down and everything.
Susan gave me the details this morning.
It depends. Certain ones it depends. Because I had one that used to do it
Hi, how are you?
stat holidays a week, and then
sweater back there.
But then now it keeps you okay.
No, I just stored it there for now.
Preset, I think.
Got all my keys and whatnot.
Yeah, no.
Oh, were you sitting here?
She's good.
Oh, well, okay. No, you go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. It's those sitting, standing hugs, hey? I know, they're always a little dangerous.
I'm good, thank you.
Got prime seats here right in that corner. You can roll to the front if you want.
I was always that troublemaker that Could have been outside this year.
Yeah.
How far you've come.
you know.
I'm gonna move.
Okay. Yeah. Just to be aware of what you're saying. I haven't been listening, but like, more for your concern more than mine.
7 years ago. There was a gentleman who was in Wellesley that was at UW that I did as well, and I've lost touch with him. I don't, and my brain's not even popping up his name.
Stuff like that, and
My
it's not
conscious.
like you disagree.
So you're the second person I've met from Zimbabwe. Well, great to meet you, and hopefully I will be able to come to this other event.
He's actually going to play some hockey games here this year. He's got 4 or 5 hockey games.
When you wake up before your alarm,
Half the time I can't remember.
Did you get gas?
Yes, I did. As soon as the last time I go over going up to West Barbecue, and you're the first person that came to mind. And like, that's first of all. I'm not going to live that one down. Andrew walked in before, just for Paul. What's going to be bad is all in the Monday, Tuesday, I get to see your face every time now, Merlin.
Monday.
It's nice, but I'm like, one of the big factors.
I was walking over this morning and the sun's sunrise going on. Turning all kinds of like blues and purple and
brought in all these experts. Yeah, something because I was just but the rate's still worth it. My husband too, I don't know which way I should do. 60 months to well, he does it, but most guys his age have their haircuts by now. He's like, well, now I don't dare leave. It is whatever he wants to do. Yes, he is. I thought maybe you resigned. I haven't seen you in so long. Give her an opportunity. I don't want to hit her anything. Well, it would have been but it's me and the Grizzlies on Friday.
Check.
Salmon Run is on.
Just like filling up on so much barrel. It's so funny. Some offices have it's not always the
Good morning. How's everyone this beautiful morning? In 5 years, we've not had such a beautiful morning. When we had it outside, it was always cold and rainy. The 1 year we decided to do it inside, and it's beautiful out there. We can't win for losing. So welcome to our 5th annual sunrise ceremony for Truth and Reconciliation and Orange Shirt Days. Beautiful to see everyone with their orange shirts out there. This is a day that we remember the ones who did not make it home from residential schools, and I promised myself I was not going to get emotional, as well as the ones who did make it home from school, because those are the ones that we want to honor and recognize as well. My mom was a survivor of residential school. I always say she's a warrior, and because of that, my whole family is here today. So today we'd like to start off. I want to call up President Nancy Broadbent to say a few words and to introduce everyone.
Good morning, everyone. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome everyone to Waniskah and to Portage College Lac-La-Biche campus. I am really deeply honored to see how many people are here today. This is the best attendance we've ever had. And before I continue, I'd like to acknowledge, I know that we are broadcasting also. So we are coming to you from Treaty 6, the traditional lands of the First Nation peoples, which are also homelands to the Métis. And through this acknowledgement, we want to convey our deep respect and for the history and culture and contributions of all the peoples who first gathered on these lands. I also want to tell you that Lac-La-Biche County is unique in that it spans Treaty 6, 8, and 10 territories. It is situated at the heart of a river system, and so because of that, it's been a gathering place for many Indigenous peoples for time immemorial. We are really honored to continue to receive the teachings, wisdom, and generosity of the Nehewak, Denisontu, and Métis people of this region. Portage is grateful for the welcoming presence of ceremony and gatherings like today, and we are continually challenged to learn truth and practice meaningful reconciliation through these ceremonies and our daily work. This year, as part of our continued journey at the college, I'm really proud to announce that the group that was founded in 2017 called the President's Indigenous Advisory Committee has given direction to administration and myself to really rework the foundation of that committee and have it evolve to be a more traditional way that we meet and gather and learn together. So there's going to be some work, and I'm sure we'll be calling upon the knowledge keepers and elders of our area to make sure that we get that right. I'm also really, really proud that on National Indigenous Peoples Day, we unveiled this in New Jersey for our athletics team. It was designed by a lady that works for us who is of Métis heritage, and she was able to explain very beautifully about all the symbolism and all the artwork that's on it, but I just think it's absolutely beautiful, and it does remind us of our history as a college. I also want to, while I'm going to move to welcoming all the elders, I just want to welcome someone who will be taking the college into the next voyage along with the President's committee, and that's Dr. Stephen Price and his wife Susan. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm especially honored that Portage College is hosting a sunrise ceremony. I think it's extremely fitting, particularly for our college, because of the name that we were given back after the sit-in in 1968, which was Piitapun, and that means new dawn. And it really was important for the founders at that time to recognize that education is a new dawn and an awakening, and our college was dawning in its time. So I think it's very fitting that sunrise ceremony is a way to celebrate that. I want to express my deepest gratitude for Knowledge Keeper Darcy McGillivray for all the years, all the blessings and teachings that you shared with our college and with me. And I want to thank you for bringing your family to dance with us, Shayna, Dakota, and Raven. Thank you for doing that. I also want to thank a great friend of Portage College and mine, and that's Métis Elder James Cardinal. Thank you for being here today, James, and for always sharing your wisdom and humor with us. I'm looking forward to hearing from you today. I want to thank Elder Leonard Jackson of Beaver Lake Nation. Thank you for being here. And also Council Member Michael Lehman. It's really wonderful to have you join us here today. We are very, very, very blessed at the college for all the folks that continue to connect with us. And I want to share with you that Michael's Mushum, who we knew as Chipsheen, is actually in the founder's photo behind you. And he would be very proud of your leadership, so thank you for that, Michael. Ms. Chantel Sparkling is the district captain for OT Pimwas.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll try again, OT Pimwas. I think I got close there, the new Métis government for Alberta. I also have a connection with Chantel, and that her mom and I were really good friends at school, and it's great to have you here, Chantel. Thank you. To the dancers and the drummers, of course, everything that you share with us today really heightens the level of spirituality that we'll experience today and just makes the day so, so special. Thank you for your beautiful regalia and the singing and drumming that we're about to experience. So I just want to mention the drummers, so that's Dakota. Oh, and I missed a dancer too, but I'll get to that. Utin, Rexford, and Lauren, thank you very much for drumming. Randy and Allie, I want to thank you for being here, and Raven, thank you for being here. That's our dancers that are joining us. And I do believe, I think most of the folks that are dancing, and other than Randy and Allie, are coming to us from Saddle Lake Cree Nation, I believe. So thank you very much for the journey this morning. I want to talk today about on National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. As Robert said, we honor the children who never returned from home, and those that did return for sure are warriors, but were very altered, let's call that, traumatized by their experiences. And today we reflect on those horrors that the children endured and how they were separated from their families. They were denied their language, and they were stripped of their cultures. And how horrid that is for a young child to be growing up in the absence of love, separated from their families. So I want everybody to take a minute and think about that. And you know, we're wearing the orange shirts, which is Phyllis Webstad's story, where, you know, her pride in her brand new shirt on day one of school was tragically diminished by others, basically mean spirit. We also do remember the missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, two-spirited people, and men and acknowledge the ongoing fight against racism that Indigenous friends and neighbors face every day. And so as we continue to reflect on the painful truths and the travesties, let us take a moment to think about that, and then let's look forward. Let us use today to educate ourselves, to learn about others, to embrace the beauty of the culture and the traditions that we're going to experience today, and let us be called into action, not just today, but every day. It's really important that we come together, continue to connect, and grow, I guess. And then I want to say a special thank you to Robert Rapo, who's blessed the college with his presence for so many years now, and has been a real trusted spiritual and cultural teacher for me and a great friend. Thank you everyone for participating today in our sunrise ceremony. Your presence and commitment to truth and reconciliation is showing, and it's invaluable. Hi, merci, and thank you.
Thank you, President. She's been an amazing president. It's been amazing working with her and on our journey together. And she's just a wonderful all-around person. I'd like to call up Elder James Cardinal from the Métis Nations to say a prayer and give a little talk about the day.
Danse. First I'll pray in my language. Amamoftawinan. Inanaskum tanan miskagishka. Kakio kamamuiki auta. Iskotama tanchigis maitutagoya. Ebanma. Chmagnonan. Uyanyanani chmaksia. Kaktotaski gagipeya. Magaksaginan. Kakio muskihtinan. Kamiu kiskakanus. Hisino kakio kapetahkik. Tanchigi petutagoya. Tanchigi peispekuma deskinan. Kauchakak pechintan. Tankakio ko apatahach umaski kayaya. Tanse hegi petutagoya. Kia manakake kawi nanaskumta. Matswan kamia. Tatugis kaunagatemia. Piahtakuta. Minukinanaskumten. Kakio kapetagutechek kamiukiuechek. Kamiutagutechek. Eo kakio nistan kamamio piksquare. Kamamio tatu hauta. Kamam skutama. Eo gumatansegi pacebake. Eo go kapechuntanutin. Hai. Kamio kiksepao. Tota mana hea. Sagasteo kiksepao. Pe kiugatuia. Anus. Nanas monagan moche. Mina. Net taunwig magan. Te prob napich to gamachak tamakik se pagandu papik squatuia. Oinet gukte kayaun ta. So I was talking to my wife and I said, we're going to be there 7:30 in the morning to visit each other at sunrise, to talk about the days of today. And I said, I wonder who's going to be there. And I said, maybe 4 or 5 people. And that's what I expected. And she said, I'm so thankful I met a very wise woman. She said to me, don't worry about who's there, because all the empty chairs will be filled by our ancestors. So I thank her for that. So that's what I see today, Uta. So it's something to take with you. Whenever there's just a few people, don't worry about it. Your ancestors are there. Oh, this thing works like me, only once in a while. But, Tande kamachitan, where do I start? And a day like this today, like we've covered it a little bit here and talk about it. But this history of ours, it's never really treated Indigenous people good. Whether it's school, whether it's, you know, jobs, everything's always the same. We're always fighting for recognition. We're always looking to make sure that somebody knows our truth. And a lot of people don't listen to our truth. They don't want to hear our truth. Because they think it's not their problem. And because it's happened years ago. But always remember, what happened years ago is still with us today. Our people are still suffering. And it's a hard thing to get over. So, because, always remember, the people that fought overseas happened years ago. We never forget them. And we will never forget them. So let's not forget what we did to the Indigenous people. That's what I always say. It happened here, right here, in our country. And today, and this goes back to 1973, to this Orange Shirt Day, when the young lady, I think her name is Phyllis Webstead, her shirt was taken away after her grandma went and bought it for her. So can you imagine the heartbreak that kid went through? Her favorite shirt was taken away and never seen again. That's why we wear the orange shirts today. I was 1973. I was already 22 years old, 23 years old, you know, and she was 6. So I look at my granddaughter. She's 6 years old. When you take a little thing away from her for a few minutes, the heartbreak she goes through. So imagine, you know, and that's what I always think about Orange Shirt Day. We started late, 2013 is when originally started, but we never did push it. Got 2 more. That does work like me. I'm done already. Hello? Test. Test, wait.
Technology is such a wonderful thing.
Must be unionized. Time to have a coffee break.
I hear you well.
Test. Hey, there we go. Oh. Anyway, I can't remember. I'm getting old. I can't remember where I was at. But anyway, we were talking about 1970, 2013. So a few years now, we started this orange shirt, and we wear the orange shirts in respect. But also, every child matters. Another thing I want to touch on a little bit. And that's so important. But does every child really matter? That's the question, you know, because to this day, there's places like Edmonton that don't respect that. There's an academy school there in, right by the old airport downtown. And for Indigenous people, for Indigenous kids. Well, they're taking land away all the time. Where they used to play, where they used to, and you know, they make it a dog park there. So dogs are more important than Indigenous kids. I always say that. So where do we go with this? Like, if our counties, our cities, our governments don't respect, if every child mattered, it's not right. It's time. It's time we let our voices be heard. That we really, truly understand that every child matters. County of Lac La Biche has been doing good. And I know that because I work with Paul Rudolph, and you know, he's really into this, but I see he's not here today. But I want to thank him with that, and I hope whoever a future mayor is continues that and that type of work, and that's what I'd be thankful for. And then now we go to truth and reconciliation. That's another thing that was given to us, and we started off good. It was, you know, as much as people like to knock down the Liberals, but it was them that started the whole thing about truth and reconciliation. And doesn't matter what government is in there, as long as they do it right. And the most important thing when you're a leader is not about yourself. It's about the people you're representing. To me, Canada would be a perfect place to live if all the governments would sit together and say, we're here for the people. But you know, they sit there and argue against each other, try to knock one another down all the time. It's not right. You're not working for the people, you're working for yourself. And that's exactly where Every Child Matters and Truth and Reconciliation is at. You know, they seem to forget they created something. When you create something, it's like a house. If you don't finish your house, it's hard to live in it. And that's our Canada. We built it, but we never finished it. And it's so important that we do that. Our leaders, they too have to do the same thing. You have to think of the people you're representing. Whether it's Métis leaders, whether it's the chiefs, we have to think of the people first. That's the most important thing. And then, you know, our kids, we have to teach them the proper way of being. But I man, when you're traumatized yourself, it's really hard to really go into a good life when you're already suffering from what's happening. And I ask each and every non-Indigenous person to not feel guilty if you're supporting us, or not feel guilty and you don't support us. Let's work together and make our world a better place. Remember, we were here. We were the ones that tied the boats down when they came in with the welcome, when we welcomed the people. And then they took our land. They try to assimilate us into being who they want us to be. But we were already great people. We had leadership that knew how to work for their people. And you'll hear a lot of that in the statements or the lines that the chiefs had said back in the day. There was great leaders in our country. As if you really think about it, you know, we never had jails. We live by natural laws. We don't have to have a judge and how to run the country. We had leadership that ran that. And that's what I always think about, how beautiful our country was. How beautiful our country would be today. We'd still be drinking water from the rivers and the lakes. But industry has killed that. It's like it kills everything else. Let's make today a great day. Let's have a start of the Orange Shirt Day. Every Child Matters. Truth and Reconciliation. Let's put them all together and take one step at a time and go forward and making even just Lac La Biche a better place. Let's be the example. Let's be the leadership who we are. Let's make this country look at Lac La Biche and say, this is where it all started. This is what you have to do to become the great town of Lac-La-Biche. That's what I think. Beaver Lake and Lac-La-Biche work close together, and I know that we have great leadership at Beaver Lake. Not because half of them are my relatives. It's because they are. But I thank the Lord for bringing me here today. My granddaughter's sleeping at the room, and I know when I get back, she'll say, "How come you didn't wake me up so I could go with you?" But there's a reason for that. Then I'd have to, her and I would be, I'm not arguing, but discussing it. And she's 6 years old, and I'll tell you a little bit about this. 2 years ago, she told her mom, "I'm moving out. I'm going to go live with Papa." So it's been 2 years now. I've raised her. Not that I have to. She just wants to be there. And that's who we are as Indigenous people. The whole community raised the child. And it doesn't matter where they live, who they live with. It's the love that they get. We were such loving people, and we still are today. And that's what we got to carry, the love, because my older siblings went to residential school, and they were survivors of residential school. Because they went to residential school, I'm not really truly connected with them. I never grew up with them. I didn't know my older brothers and sisters till I was a teenager. I didn't know I had brothers and sisters. And then all of a sudden, you're told this. Then you wonder why. And sometimes when I think about it, did my older siblings resent the parents for, we didn't send them. I remember Mom talking about back in the day when we were out in the bush, and they came there and they wanted to take us. And Mom said, "No, this time you'll have to kill me first." And she wasn't going to let us go. But they said we had to go to school, so we moved to Owl River. We were back, the place they called Buffalo Lake, that's where we were living back in the day till I was 8 years old, I think. Then we moved to Owl River, and my dad built a house there, and he had a quarter section, and that's where we were born and raised, in Owl River. But I had a lot of love. I also had discipline, and to this day, that's who it made me be. I worked for Suncor for 43.5 years, and I lost a lot of my culture during that time, my language, because I wouldn't speak it, because I used to get strapping in school for speaking my language. So to this day, I say, they won. They beat me because I didn't teach my kids, because I didn't want my kids to go through that. So I didn't teach them the language. But you know what? It's coming around. My granddaughter, she's speaking the language now. So there's a reason why she comes there. But that's a little bit about me, and that's a little bit about who we are today. I thank each and every one of you for to come here and sit there and relax and listen to what we got going here today. It's really important to see so many people here, and a few chairs our ancestors are at. I'm thankful for that. And I hope we have a great day as the day goes on. And I don't want to take any more of your time. They told me 5 minutes, but we never went by time in our society back in the day. We went by, the time is right. When the time is right, that's when you do things. When you talk about Indian time, okay, I'll teach you a little bit of that too. Indian time was never, what it meant was the Indigenous leaders did things when time was right. That's the way they did things. They didn't, like they say, we'll meet tomorrow. Let's say tomorrow rains. They won't go there because it's not a good day to talk about anything. So maybe they're a day late on something. And that's where they start talking about Indian time. But no, it's not what it was. It was you do things when the time is right. Today's a beautiful day. Today's the time is right today in what we're doing. And let's continue to do that. Aye, aye.
Is it working? Yeah. Thank you very much, Elder James Cardinal. James is always good to listen to. I've known him for years. He's my brother-in-law's older brother. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to have the ladies' jingle dress, which is a healing song and a healing dance, come up. Over here. We'll call up. Just discussing something. And we're going to call up Mr. McGillivray to come and explain the dance a little bit before we start. So we're just going to call up Jim. No. Jim. Oh, Arson. The ladies are up there.
Wagumagantik, hapsis. Nigani no teinalaska wanîskah. Osam wairis misterane petrunte aku muma. Kiwa muma, kiwa patama anuts. Mite tu skaisa quisto. Itima tik hegonik. Stomaxnoa. Kayas mana kitem noak. Wistoa. Itimaatik, wagumagantik, wapskuyas. Maga nots moyau go hekuke hitoyan. Ugo gekus squawak. Ipatsmotsek elgo, jingle dress in niton. Nata wehuin. Kitem no akia bits, hegone kitoitamak, but ipaksuma ke elgo. Ute una wow. Ugu ge ki apchita chegegore. Kayas na pewa na I toeita muchansa hi akse. Elgo mamutawi no I mamsi tansi sema gin chansa wa na mo toe ma in a pit. Kiwa ya pinamagwe mo. Kiwa Iwapatam. Mamutawi no ekota hi kwetsama mate asi tau muma. Jingle dress. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I wanted to thank you all. I'm not going to take too much time this morning. These ladies that are in front of you today, they're adorning these jingle dress. It comes from way of our Eastern Canada neighbors, brothers and sisters, Anishinaabe dance. It is regards a healing dance, and the story goes that it was dreamt of from a father, a parent that had a child who was sick, and the young child was very deathly ill, and the parent was crying and praying that he didn't want the child to leave this earth ahead of their time. And he prayed with the mom, and a dream came to that parent, and it was asked of him to construct this dress. And some of these dresses are adorned with roughly 365 cones. If you look on them, if we get the ladies to do a 360, show the crowd. Some of these dresses are adorned with upwards of 365 cones representing each day. That dress is used in a lot of ceremonies for us. When we start some of the powwow ceremonies, we ask the jingle dressers and the grass dancers to come in bless this arbor for us, bless the ground before we even start anything. That's how we help ask our ladies in the jingle dress to assist us as a healing ceremony. There is societies around these dresses that these ladies are wearing. So with that, we're going to get right into it. We're going to ask our singers to welcome Baksamuta Bisum Musum. Grandfather's son has come up now, and we're here on behalf of the students that continue to struggle out there, right across Canada, nationally, and to the lower 49, 48, that we don't have to endure what we've went through in, right from the early 1800s, middle 1800s, right up to 1991. 1991, last residential school was closed, and a lot of people, I heard it mentioned, didn't get to come home. And we talk about truth and reconciliation, ladies and gentlemen. I met a 106-year-old lady yesterday. 106-year-old lady at the extended home in St. Paul at the hospital. She told me, and I had shared this story before, about an old farmer in Vegreville at the residential home there. But this lady, she kind of a little bit older, 106 years old. She said she was very proud of what we've been doing, and that's promoting this, our culture, the awareness, the education that we continue to bring to the people. And she said I wasn't allowed to speak to the Indian. The only Indians I seen were in a field thrashing with my father. They were baling. They were the laborers. The longest form of slavery in the world, ladies and gentlemen, is the Indigenous people. From the day that Columbus had set that boat on the eastern shores of Canada, ever since then, up until this day, under even the guise of apprenticeships, the term slavery has been used. Ladies and gentlemen, if we educate ourselves and ask and open our eyes for what it truly is, then we get to do truth and reconciliation. But when we have a closed mind, we prevent that our brain to accept new information. That to me is a form of growth. It's us moving forward as people, as human beings. This is why we ask our dancers to come in and help us today, to bring in a good day as part of the reconciliation, truth and reconciliation. The official apologies from Canada, 1987 from Stephen Harper, and then fast forward 2017 from Prime Minister Trudeau. You ask yourselves, has Canada grown since there through the 94 calls to action? Which ones have been really prioritized? We see the Bill C-5 and industry bypassing the treaties. We need to talk about where are we going as a country. As a former leader in Saddle Lake through Chief and Council, I got to see this firsthand. I got to travel across Canada into Ottawa. Let me tell you something about politics, and it has no place in the lives of our children. Our children are the ones that suffer. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for working with the college here, and I want to extend our greetings to our new president here. He has some big shoes to fill, some big moccasins. Beautiful moccasins. But we've come a long way. This room, for instance, was never here for our Native students. It wasn't here. We used to do this ceremony outside, and it was very cold. Oh boy, we were cold. During COVID, our students were held up in their dorms and they couldn't come out. We had to do this, and they were watching on a video monitor. And we cried with them because we were isolated. We even had to sing with masks on. That's how brainwashed we were too. It wasn't true sickness, don't get me wrong, people died, but at the same time, we have our own medicines too, if we use them right. So with that, I want to thank the elder for the prayer, and I want to thank the local leaders, municipal, provincial, territorial, and with that, Hoka.
Thank you, ladies. That's beautiful. Thank you, drummers. I'd like to call up Chantel Sparkling. She is the captain of District 19. She'll say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Like Robert said, my name is Chantel Sparkling Eyes, but I am a Biche, born and raised from Lac La Biche. I also come from Owl River, and I'm really thankful to be here today. This is my first ever attending the sunrise ceremony at the college, and I initially wasn't going to attend, but Robert twisted my arm. But I'm thankful he did. And I want to start off by saying thank you so much to Elder Cardinal James, who is my relative, but also a leader from the community that I come from and somebody that I often look up to, and I know I can phone at any time when I need that. So thank you so much. I really, this day is a very important day, but it is a very heavy day. And I think about my cookum like every year as soon as I wake up. This is my thoughts of her. And I want to talk a little bit about her today, because I think that we often focus, and we should, and share the history, but we focus on the hardships. And I don't think we acknowledge enough the resurgence and the revival of the expression of love that we see in our communities today. The battery's gonna die. And I think that it's a part that's often overlooked as a result of residential school is the disruption of our comfortability of expressing emotion other than humor, because we are very humorous people. I'm just going to shut that off and use my big girl voice. Humor, I think, is such an important part of who we are as Indigenous people, and I often joke with my brothers and say I refuse to go to therapy because I won't be funny anymore. But what it comes from, and that humor, is that, being comfortable with the connections and the people we have, so that we can be ourselves. And if you can't laugh, then everything is just going to be heavy all the time. And I learned my laughter from my cookum, and my husband always says I have an anti-cackle that has evolved over time, which I'm very proud of, because when I'm laughing, and I'm in a room. But my cookum was raised by her grandma. Her mom died when she was 8, and my cookum's cookum was raised in a residential school. And so when you have children growing up without the presence or the expression of love, you don't know how to do it with your own children, right? And it's a very hard thing to learn, and it's not a natural thing because it's not something you're used to. So she really struggled with her expression of that. She was definitely very strict with her kids, but I was the baby, so I never ever got a licking once, even though I probably deserved a few. But we always knew we were loved, but it wasn't, hugging or just sitting together and saying I love you wasn't something that was natural or common in her house. And she raised her children that way, and then that carried on with my mom, and my mom and I have worked really hard we're the same person, so we often butt heads, but we hug now, so that is a huge, huge progress. But I am a mother. I have 2 daughters and a son, and now I have a little grandson. I know I look so young, right? But I have a soon-to-be 20-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old daughter, and my son is 9. I love all my kids, but I truly only like my son right now. I've been told as my girls grow, we'll like each other more, and since my oldest has moved out, it's definitely been getting better with her. But, I was a young mom. I had 2 kids by the time I was 20, and I was a kid, and like James said, when he's talked about when we have our own hurts, it's hard to work through that and raise good humans and give them a solid foundation for their house. But that, for me, is it's the thing that I've done the most in my life that I'm very proud of, because it was a lot of hard work, but I was fortunate to have my cookum until I was 25, and the main thing she taught me was that our children are only lent to us. They aren't ours to keep forever, and our responsibility to them is to make it as best as it can for them, because the children, and history historically were the center of everything. And the foundation of love came from, you know, children having the freedom and the safety to explore who they are and what their gifts are and what they bring to the world. Because every single one of us, doesn't matter where we are in life, we have something we contribute. So I was about 30-ish when I realized that, you know, my girls weren't small and cute anymore, and it was getting harder to feel comfortable with being emotional with them or expressing affection. And so I really had to reflect on why that was, and I realized that it was an intergenerational thing. So now we see this revival and this resurgence in Indigenous people, you know, uplifting our music and our songs and our dance and all the artistic ways we express ourselves. Like the beautiful regalia, that is an artistic expression. But we're also seeing a huge resurgence of traditional roles for child rearing. And I think that is the most beautiful thing in the world when you can just see kids being kids. I really was reflecting on my 17-year-old because she just graduated high school, but she's trying to figure out what it is she wants, and I was feeling frustrated about 2 weeks ago with her, and I thought, why isn't she as independent? Like, why doesn't she have the motivation that I had when I was 17? And then I thought about it and had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she said, it's not a bad thing that she's not as independent as you were, because you had to be, and you had to do that. She's being a kid, and she has the space and the flexibility and the comfortability and the support of her parents. You know, she got to be a kid, and then it made me very emotional because I'm very proud of that, and I see so much of that in all of our communities. It's more and more now, happening now. And I just want to say, on this day, I would love to focus on the revival of who we are. And like James said, we have to move forward, and it's up to us to decide what we're going to create. And so I just want to challenge everyone to give your kids a hug or hug someone's kids. We all have, you know, nieces and nephews in our lives that are special to us, or just friends. Like I have friends whose kids call me auntie, and you know, just remember, this is the best advice I got. If your kids are getting on your nerves, it's a you thing, not a them thing, because they don't know that yet, right? And we are the ones who are uncomfortable with that emotion. So we have to teach them how to do that, and a hug will fix everything. I'm thankful for the love that I was given from my cookum, even when she didn't know how to give me a hug or a kiss, or you know, tell me she loves me. I always knew I was loved because she always fed me. I could go to her house anytime in the middle of the night. I'd never get in trouble, but I was always, the door was open. And I think that we need to remember all of those beautiful things, because even with the disruption, we still were given a lot of different teachings, and we're learning now how to express our emotion and to be okay with, you know, having more than just humor or anger. So, yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
Tell me to try it again. Hello? Hello? Oh, it's back on. Thank you, Chantal. I've known Chantal for many years, from Dr. Swift when she was in grade 6. And I've known her grandmother for most of my life, her late grandmother, Janet Bushy, because she was friends with my mom. And Janet used to be our bannock maker for our round dance. When we first started round dance at the college, she was our bannock maker, so we appreciated her.
She is the reason why I have a hard time eating anybody else's bannock.
So thank you very much. And when she says children are a gift, that was a consent from all Indigenous people. Children were a blessing. They were a gift from the Creator for us to cherish for a short time. So at this time, I'd like to call up Michael Lehman, council member of Beaver Lake Cree Nation, to say a few words.
Morning, everybody. Michael Lehman, I'm a council member from Beaver Lake Cree Nation. I got some roots here, my bushes on the 18th there, my cook 'em. Kudos to the other speakers. It's a tough thing to talk about. I didn't think I'd get so emotional right away, but this is how it affects, generations. I'm sorry. My cook went Blue Cross. She raised me. I don't know what I can do. I had plans to honor her and speak for her, but it's just a tough time. It's a tough moment. I'll try that again. Thank you. But this is a part of the trauma. It's hard to be vulnerable as a man because of what our grandparents endured. I was told to be strong. In the later years of her life, my cooking expressed what she went through, and it made sense as I became a father and as I matured. She was told she was never told. She was loved. And I know she loved all her kids and grandchildren, but it affected her parenting style. She was given a loving love, but it was a tough love. And it was a firm love. And I'm just grateful that one of the things that I got from that was her strength, her resilience. And for me, I wasn't going to speak or attend. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the word reconciliation. I feel like it's a box to be checked. For me, hearing some of this, seeing this emotion, that's a hard truth that a lot of non-Indigenous people have to see. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable, then I ask you to ask yourself why. Because this is real. It trickles down through generations. I'm a father of 4, and I tell my kids I love them every day now. Because growing up, I was loved, but I wasn't told I was loved. And it took me a long time and a battle through my own mental health and addictions to become, a better man. I'm still growing. I'm honored to become a leader in my community, and I want to bring that forth, that knowledge and that respect, as the elder just said. This is for the people. So I try and put my best foot forward every day, every event I attend for my nation, for my people. So this is me doing that today. Sitting here, I had this thought that I would have this grand speech, but emotions got the better of me. I just want to thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for letting me be here. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And And that's the hardest part of who we are when we get these emotions. But just picture this a little bit now. Think about life that we went through years ago. Think about a town. Think of a town where there was no kids. There was no laughter of kids. You see nothing anywhere. That was our community back in the day when our kids were taken away.
Yeah, actually, no, for a second I want everyone to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Picture your home with no children. Picture the one night children laughing in the morning, there's not a sound. Not a sound from children. Not a sound from no laughter, no talking, no nothing. How would that make you feel? What does it cause in you? What does it bring out in you? And then we think about addictions. A lot of families couldn't cope, so unfortunately they chose to do addictions. That was their way of coping. And we wonder why. You know, we hear so much Indigenous people have so much addictions, so much problems. It's trauma. It's been passed down from generation. And you think the last residential school closed in 1996. And then you think of all the ways Canada has been, you know, in battle, in war with Indigenous children, through residential schools, through the Indian hospitals, through the 60 scoops, and now through child welfare. Indigenous children have been targeted through policies and bills to be removed, to be stripped of their culture, to be stripped of their language, to be stripped of who they are as individuals. And we wonder why when these children age out in child welfare systems that they have no idea who they are. They're lost. They have no identity. And that's happened through so many different times in our lives with Indigenous children. From residential schools, when they would leave that, they could not figure out who they were. They were not Indigenous because they had none of the language, they had none of the culture, they had none of the feelings. They couldn't go home because they were a thumb, always on the outside. Never inside the family, always on the outside. And then we look at the Indian hospitals where children in some cases were hospitalized up to 10 years because they had TB. Which now they're finding out a lot of these children did not have TB. They would bring a machine there, have the people line up, and they would decide who had TB or not. But the machine did not run, did not even make us happy. And they were shipped from way up north to way down here. So you think of the Inuit children. They'd never seen their families, many of them. They never made it home either. Then we have the 60 scoop, where children were apprehended and sent all over the place to be adopted into non-Indigenous homes and then come back. And they're supposed to fit into the family. They're supposed to fit into the culture. And now we have child welfare system. The same thing, it's just like a residential school. Children are forcibly removed from a home, not gently removed, forcibly removed. Remember that. They do not take children and say, can we have your children, please? They remove them forcibly. And then a lot of them age out while they're in the system. Never to go home. Never to understand what it means to be a family. Never to understand what it means to be a parent. And that's what's happened so many times, from the residential schools until now. Children go into the system, they don't know how to be a parent when they come out. How can you? For many of them, all they understand is abuse. And that's a shame that we're 2025 and many children only understand abuse. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I'd like to call on, where is he? Kevin Perry. Kevin's been one of our speakers since we started this, so I like hearing from him. So come on up, Council Member of Lac-La-Biche County.
Thank you, Richard. See, when you put me on the spot, Robert, I get nervous, right? I didn't intend to speak today, but I speak at a lot of these, a lot of these events, and they're very, very important to keep hosting these events, and I thank Portage College for being a big part of this event. We have to keep honoring our children in this event, and I kind of put it to the point, if we don't continue, then we forget. And forgetting is the biggest crime ever, that if we forget what atrocities happened in the 1800s, the 1900s, and today, if we forget those things that happened, then that's the biggest crime, because we have to keep on remembering, because this way it doesn't happen again. And we can't let what happened in the past happen again. I know Robert included pulling kids today, from homes, and you know what? We gotta put that to the forefront and do something about it, and so it doesn't happen again. We have to break the circle of abuse, trauma, and never forget the past of what happened, so we make sure it never happens again, that kids aren't taken away and then age out and thrown on the streets. They weren't even brought home. They're just thrown on the streets, the closest city to the school, when they aged out, and then they didn't have a home. The streets are cruel. A lot of them, started doing drugs and prostitution in order to survive. And we're quite fortunate in our world where we don't have to do those things to survive, but they did. So we have to make sure that never happens again. There's a lot of atrocities that happen, and you're going to hear a few more at the Old Center. I know I commend Councillor Lehman that, reconciliation is sometimes a box that's checked. You can say a lot of things, you can preach a lot of things, but until you act on making, creating better relationships with your Indigenous neighbors, and actually being part of their culture and their heritage. I know in the last 4 years I've been going to a lot of events and attending a lot of events on settlements and on the nations, and you know what? There's a big stigma on people are afraid to go to the nations or go to the settlements and experience what they're going to experience, but I haven't been treated with nothing but dignity and respect, welcoming. I always joke that I get treated better on the settlements in the nation than I do in my own community. So, they're very, very outgoing and very welcoming, and they've welcomed me into their communities, and I'm really quite fortunate over the last 4 years to get to know everybody and be treated like family. So, when they say reconciliation, it's a really easy word, and I want you guys all to remember this, a very easy word, and it's called presence. If you want to change the way people think and act, you have to be present. And it's a very easy thing to do is to go to events like this, be present. What I do is I follow all the nations and the settlements on Facebook, so when they're having an event, I I check my calendar, and if my calendar is open, I go to an event. I don't wait for an invite, I just show up, and it's being present. And it's easy to do, and that's how you be part of reconciliation, is to be present, learn about culture, get to know the communities that are your neighbors for the last 200 years in the county. And if you have grown up and lived in this community all your life and never been on a settlement and a reserve, then you are the problem, because it's very easy to be present and be part of these communities because they're part of this community. They shop here, they go to school here, and they use our facilities. And it's very easy to be part of their community. You got to show up and be part of their communities. And because they're showing up to ours, spending their money, and I stated this a couple weeks or a couple months ago now. Months turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, right? That it's, you know, they pump millions of dollars into this community in goods and services. Our Indigenous neighbors do, and they're part of our communities, and we have to do better to be part of theirs, and that's increasing relationships, building relationships. And I'm going to tell you right now, is it perfect? Have we accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish? No, it's not perfect, but if we keep building every day, every week, and every year, and then it doesn't become a box that's checked. It's actually everybody's part of the community, and building relationships is a big thing. But it's a simple word, presence. That's the key word there. You have to be present. And I thank Robert for the tobacco. I thank the drummers and the dancers. And ready to go for a walk.
I think we have a woodpecker in here. All you hear is it's not, technology's not our friend today for some reason. Just gotta see if it'll come back on.
We don't need it.
No, nope. Turn this off. We gotta use our teachers' voices. So, thank you very much, Councilman Kevin Perry. I'd like to call up Elder Knowledge Keeper from Beaver Lake Cree Nation, Leonard Jackson, to say a few words. Nigan, gana naskumang, kuhtawin no, simanto, kaisin story maya, anos kata kiskao, iawiguya, pamatsu, iawiguya guamamina. Ewa, naskumang istawa, istai situngin naitwa, kagis motuta, kauki no. Aiman mano uti kan ipo pig squatum kan sigi pig pamigoya kan sigi tu tagoya kakyog nan ano musita no nan kutawino kawino musuno kawino weo kumusquat kirawan mukat weo Wak mano wak kamata ke ano siwa man wapas minta sewa stamina no puwe wama skagonista kwap mat kaisin no wamo sto ma itu
Tumarangawe, Matun Wama Nako Hun. I'd just like to thank and acknowledge James for the opening prayer this morning, for all the ones that are in attendance, for leadership, and the drummers, the dancers. We always have to acknowledge, because there is a message that they send out with their dancing, with their singing. There's messages in those. And like Michael, I felt a lot of emotion today, and I guess that's what a part of reconciliation is. When we show our emotions here, that's how we feel daily. And that's to express to the ones that don't know what reconciliation is about, like Councillor Harry mentioned. Reconciliation is just a word, but what we feel. And I'd like to also, like I've never ever talked about my mother. She left, I would say, Iniganuki. She left before I ever had a chance to really tell her that I've loved her. She never said I loved you either to us. And but like, she didn't have to. It was, you felt it. There's that presence of love. And I always think about her daily. Like if I have a problem, I go to the gravesite. I go and talk to her. I go and talk to her then. And you know what? Your answer will come. Might take a little while, but the message that you send, you'll receive it. And I also felt for Michael here today, because like it's hard to speak about some of the things that have happened to us. I've experienced that at the age of 3 years old. We were taken, we never even had a chance to go home, say goodbye to our parents, to my mom, and they just took us and put us in a place that we never even knew about. We're a place where we're not comfortable. And some of them stories, like, I hear a lot here. When I think about them, it really affects me in a way that you would never think that be able to talk about it. But anyways, I'd like to thank Portage College for putting this on to, like James mentioned, there doesn't have to be a big crowd. As long as there's a lot of emotion that we have, and people see that and they know what we went through. Not what we went through, but what our parents went through. Soon, Waniskah today's day and age, a lot of people, I see on TikTok, it seems to be on Facebook about, well, there's only this many children that were taken into the residential schools, and oh, it wasn't that bad. You can't deny. We have to stop, even as non-Indigenous people, have to stop denying the atrocities that happen to the Indigenous children. There's no find it when all the facts are out there. You know, and even still with residential schools and with the 60 scoops and with the Indian hospitals, the atrocities that happened affected all families, not just one or two, but they affected all families, and they affected us through the generations. My mom was a residential school survivor. We never knew what all went on. You know, she never told us. I knew she went, but she never told us until the day of the apology came. And the then President, Dr. Trent Keogh, was working, he sees me in the hallway, he goes, "Why aren't you at home? Why aren't you at home with your mom? The apology's coming, they're doing the apology." And I said, he goes, "So what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, number one, I work here. Number two, I don't think it was that bad for my mom." So then I decided to call my sister. I said, "Let's go to mom's. I'll buy," I said, "Well, buy something for lunch and we'll meet at mom's." So I get to my mom's and call out for her, walk in, looking around, while I found her. She's sitting there crying. And so I asked her, "What are you crying about, Mom? Like, what's going on? You hear the apology going on?" Then she started telling me what all happened. Then she started talking about it. That was the hardest part I'd ever listened to her when she talked about what all happened. Because you don't expect to hear that from your own parents about the abuses that they went through. And so that was very hard. It took us a long time that day to stop her from, and we wanted to stop her from crying, which was a mistake. What we should have done is let her cry. But as a child, when you see your parent crying, the first thing you want to do is you know, comfort them and stop them from crying. We had her take a shower. We had her, you know, drink some cold water, calm down, talk to her to calm down. But it took a long time for her because she needed to get the poison that was inside of her out. She needed to work through everything that she had hidden away, that she had packed down for so many years. You know, if you look at a garbage can, we put it in the middle of the floor, and every day we pack that garbage down and never throw the garbage. Then one day, once that garbage explodes, you don't throw it to the same bin again, you get rid of it. So it took us a while for helping our mom to this day to help her get through that garbage that she went through that poison. You know, and then with the Indian hospital. And then we think of today with all the children that go through, you know, that go through the child welfare system. And then they come and they're adults. And when I was in counseling, I've seen it and heard so much about it, that these people that were adults, they didn't know how to be children. They didn't even know how to be an adult. They didn't know where they stood. What were they? They didn't know about their culture. They didn't know about their families. And then we expect them to be healthy adults and contribute to everyday society. How did they do that? How do you go into a family like they had to, go into a family who are strangers, who are not of their culture, and then live there, in some cases bounce all over the place from a young age, and then come back and be, when they are aged out, come back and be a healthy citizen who works in communities. That's impossible, because we need to be able, they need to be able to find out who they are first, to work through all their pain, to work through all that poison that's been in their system, to get it out. And when we look at that as post-secondary, that's where we make a difference for them. So I'm going to ask the male traditional dancer and the lady traditional dancer, and I'm going to ask Darcy to come up and explain them a little bit. And they're going to bring a bit of our history back to life.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about honor, long time ago, our ladies, the caregivers, the life givers, when they would protect the camps, when they would honor our warriors, when the warriors would go off to fight the battles, to protect the tribe, to protect the food storage, to protect the horses, the territory. For whatever reason, the men had to leave camp. When they came back, the ladies, the women of the camp would encircle the camp area, and they would adorn a couple different types of called traditional dress. And there was a buckskin dress, which is adorned with leather and beads, very, very heavy. It's very heavy on the ladies, but they're very strong. And the other one is cloth, which is also adorned with like elk's teeth, which showcase the prowess of a hunter, and the beautiful porcupine quills and all those different types of materials. But once again, they would encircle the camp, and as the men returned back from the battle that they had to fight with either other tribes or the colonizers back in the day, a lot of the men didn't return alive, and but the ladies would still continue their job by honoring them with their traditional dance. So we're going to ask the singers to honor our, we found it fitting today to bring a ladies traditional dancer to honor today because of what we're going through as far as Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Week, they call it. It's a national holiday that they talked about, once again, ladies and men and teenagers and LGBTQ. There's many of our people are missing out there still. And even as close as Saddle Lake, we've had in the past 5 years upwards of 5 people that we're still searching for in our own reserve. This is how true it is, and it's hit home very, very true. Then we talked about the residential school, the 60s school, 1950s right up until 1981. You know, our people, our kids taken away. Thank you for that, Robert, and the other speakers. I thank Mr. Lehman, Councilor Lehman, for that. Our family grew up with his Muslim. Their Muslim was a chief for many, many years, so well over 30, 40 years in Beaver Lake, and such a powerful speaker. Thank you, Mr. Lehman, for that. So we're going to go right into that. This is Raven Cardinal. We want to thank you for being here, and with that, we're going to follow it up with, we'll ask him to move forward. We're going to introduce him. This is Dakota Cardinal McGilvery. He is one of the dancers that represents the warrior dance. This is a warrior dance. Once again, those warriors that went off to fight in the battle. This is the one, these men, and some of the material he's wearing in his regalia is eagle feathers. Those black tips on top of his sesquites. Everybody say that, sesquites. What is it? Sesquites. Those porcupine hairs, those, in our culture, they're to repel bad spirits. That's in our, and there's different teachings around that. But those black tips that he has on his brooch, that's worth more than money to us, worth more than gold. In our culture, those are very hard to attain. So we want to thank him. And he's got the other, that war club that he carries. Back in the day, I don't think you'd want to get that on the noggin. Right? So, these are the warriors. These are the men that took care of the children and the old ladies and the grandparents. They protected us. So with that, we want to thank you. We're going to go into the ladies' traditional, and then we'll go into the men's traditional. Welcome. Thank you, Raven. So when we talk about grace and power, that was a clear exhibition of that. And our ladies back then would and you, if you're privileged enough to come and join us at one of our celebrations on one of the communities at a powwow, you'll notice as the men come in, and then even the children, the ladies are the ones that encircle the arbor as a protector. It kind of goes against what you normally think. The men would be on the outside protecting. But once again, the men would be at the front, which would kind of lead us into the battle, and the woman would encircle the children. And that would help keep the camp safe, the territory, the teepees. So we want to thank Raven for that. And there's a couple different songs that they usually do with the straight. There's a double beat. They do a variety of different songs. So we wanna commend them for everything that they do at a powwow. Can you imagine carrying 40 pounds, 30, 40 pounds all day, every day in the sun for the full weekend? That's what the ladies do. Next, we're gonna ask our traditional dancer to come forward. Once again, normally they go through a straight, a sneak up. Sneak up, I think they're going into a straight or sneak up. Sneak up. Okay, we're going to give him a sneak up song. This song portrays a warrior in battle. Once again, he's avoiding the bullets and the arrows from the other tribes or whoever he's in battle with. And he's going to tell you a story if you watch him and watch his movements, what he's doing, what you know. So with that, we want to thank Dakota for joining us here once again. Okaha. Hey, hey. Ladies and gentlemen, the young people that you just witnessed here, we want to thank some of the students for joining us right across campus, right across Turtle Island. Some of the students are watching on a web. We want to thank all the past leaders and their families for joining us. We're very appreciative of all the efforts made so we can continue to spread the message of who we are and what we are, what we're about. A lot of people have left our Mother Earth trying, fighting. We remember the days that they did the sit-in, and then the AVC, and then how it grown into Portage, and so on and so forth. Our ancestors dreamed of days like this, that we can be recognized. It's not about pointing fingers. We're not trying to do that. That's not what we're here to do. Once again, I heard our elder, that the Indigenous person is not trying to yell from the mountaintops, look at me, look at me. We're not here to do that. But we're a person like everybody else. We bleed the same color, blood. And many people have suffered in the name of the almighty dollar, in the name of land. We're the people of this continent we call Turtle Island, Kanata, that our land was stripped, taken right from under us, where our people were kicked out of their log houses, where all their barns and corrals were torn down and the land was sold without them even knowing it. It was done through some very important bodies here in Canada that we hold dear to our hearts, the churches, RCMP. Like, ladies and gentlemen, if we're really, really talking about reconciliation and recognition of what today represents, we gotta swallow our pride. We gotta really accept it for what it really is. Let's not sugarcoat it. We can't tiptoe around the issue anymore. We can't deny it, and I heard that this morning too, because the proof is in the pudding. We've done all our research. We've done what we can to take it to the highest levels of government, that we can't be pushed anymore. We're still here. The Indian was never, they tried to take the Indian out of the child, but something within their spirit stayed. Achagus eugo, achagus, spirit. The stars, atayuganak, they call them that. And if you can imagine those little children, when they were taken and they were stuck in a residential school, they would look out at the window at nighttime and they'd look at the sky. That's the only thing that gave them hope, was the stars. Our elders tell us about those stories, the constellations. So with that, we want to thank the organizers and the new president of all the work that continues to happen here at Portage. And we're going to get the crowd involved on the next one. We're going to do an intertribal, and we want you all to get up and come and join us. We're going to go clockwise. We're going to just get in here and feel the beat of the drum. And then we're kind of coming towards the end of the ceremony here on what we're doing. So with that, we want to thank you all. The next song is going to be an intertribal. So we invite you to come and join the dancers, and they're here for you, okay? So with that, aho. Okay.
do a round dance song. Well, not we. They're going to do a round dance. Yeah, now you can hold hands. Don't dare you want to dance. I want to thank you all. Thank you. I want to take this time I want to take this time to acknowledge and thank everyone for coming. This concludes our sunrise ceremony. I think there's still stuff to eat out there.
Yes, there is.
There's still food out there, right? Food out there, breakfast. So if you'd like to get something to eat, please help yourself. But this is our day is complete. We want to thank you all for coming. The walk is at 10:30 from here to the Bowl Center, so stick around. Have some coffee, something to eat. Build up your strength for the walk.
It's going to be beautiful out there.
It is. So.
I'm glad you decided to come. You're starting to like your daughter. That's so
It's one of my. Where's this from? Stick around. We got you guys on rooms that we have to do. Don't believe yet. Thank you for always supporting us.
Thanks for sharing your truth today, Robert. I rarely hear you talk about your truth, so it was nice to hear.
Thank you.
Sharing
Okay. I didn't know what it was. Because it was down here, it was like, I've never seen it down here before. I did see the tobacco, you know that? And that's part about it. And now. Always one of my favorite students. You'll always be one of my favorite students.
You'll always be the only counselor I actually love. Okay, at the front at 10.
Okay.
I was just going to say, I think you made a very poignant point where it's like, we're still finding things and people are saying it happened years ago. I was born in 1996. It just stopped.
Just thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Always one of my favorites. From Dr. Fred.
Yes, thank you.
Always. Well, you and your, I've known all your mom.
Yes.
Perfect.